Hello! What could be more refreshing than another podcast? Well, here it is. It's called Anne Chats. I'm Anne and I'm going to be chatting to all sorts of people from all walks of life. To begin with, I'm chatting with women. That's because at the moment I'm touring a show called Further Adventures in Womaning, which is about the changing landscape of female experience in Ireland over the last half century. So these conversations very much complement what I talk about in that show. The first woman that I speak with is Phyllis McGlynn. She's in her late 70s. She lives in Dublin's Dolphins Barn. I first met her a few years ago when my producer and director, Paul Farron, was creating a short film with a group of Dublin 8 seniors, a little film called Waiting, which is available on my YouTube channel if you're interested to catch it. It's really wonderful. I had a little part in the film. I had a scene with Phyllis. I really enjoyed working with her. I thought she was really grounded, really centered, really interesting, very funny. So I really enjoyed this conversation with her over tea and buns in her house. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed having it with her. Hello, Phyllis.
How are you, Anne? How's it doing?
Phyllis McGlynn in Dolphins Barn. Tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Phyllis Bridger. The Bridger came because I was born on the 4th of February. Mm-hmm. And they had boys' names picked out, so they couldn't call me Philip, which was I was supposed to be called.
You were saying that they were sure that you were going to be a boy.
They were sure I was going to be a boy. I don't know. I think back then people thought, well, the first will be a boy. Or I think that was the conception back then, that the firstborn would be a boy. Like.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to be called Philip after my father's best friends.
Yeah.
And because I was born on St. Bridget's Day, they had no girl's name. So the midwife said to me, mother, would you not call her Bridget?
Yeah.
So officially I'm Bridget.
Right.
So my father was persistent that he wanted to get Philip in somewhere. So I was called Phyllis. And the Phyllis stuck and poor Bridget got lost.
But I'm interested, your dad really wanted to honour his friend by calling. Was he really? Did you know this guy, Philip?
Well, I knew him as a kid, but then we lost touch. Like
I know, but your dad obviously was a great pal.
My dad, I was great friends with my dad,
I think that's so... that's so sweet that he wanted to call his firstborn after his best
Philip.
pal. But so how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have 3 sisters. One died when she was only 6. She was knocked down outside the house where we lived. And I've got 3 brothers. So there were 7 of us all together, and then Francis died. So so that left the 6 of us. So there's 3 girls and 3 boys now at the moment.
And do they all live around Dublin 8?
I live local, yeah. Well, except for one of my sisters lives in Ballyferma and the other one's in Clondalkin.
Yeah.
But the rest of us all live local.
And you were telling me you got married at 18.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I met, I used to play camogie.
Oh, wow.
And we were having a training session and these 2 guys were standing at the side. And the ball went out over the line and they wouldn't give it back till we went on a date with them.
Yeah.
So that's how I met him. And I was 18 at the time. But...
how long did you know him before you got pregnant?
2 years. And it was my friend's fault. She said she was going to do the business that night with her fella, so...
But back then, were you not... this is the 60s, this is late 60s, so Ireland's still really...
I was still run by the church. Like.
Still run by the church, so were you not afraid?
Well, I was afraid, that's why it took 2 years.
But
it wasn't for him not trying, like, but it was just... I
know, say, my mum is, well, she's 90 now, but I know, like, she's very religious, but she would be like, no, absolutely no sex before marriage. Yeah. It was like...
you were frowned on and you were sent away. Like most of them poor women that were sent to the McGlynn laundries.
I know.
It was because you got pregnant or...
Yeah. But you were only 18. Were you afraid, or you obviously liked him? So
I did like him, yeah. Like he was a real charmer, you know.
Yeah.
But
and did you get pregnant straight away?
I got pregnant. I thought I had a kidney infection, so I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
And they brought up a sample and all to the doctor because I was kind of always getting kidney infections.
Yeah.
And he told me I was pregnant, and I said, but I only did it once. He said, Phyllis, he said, that's all that you need to do it once.
You got pregnant straight away.
Yeah. So,
what was that like when you were told you were pregnant at 18?
Oh, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. But I didn't know that he was seeing some other woman.
Your fella?
Yeah. She came down to the door, and my mother was painting the stairs. And she said, how long have you been with him? I said, 2 years. Or she said, I've been with him, she said, 1.5 years. And she said, you told me that you were pregnant. And my mother came tearing down the stairs. She said, I'm really sorry, I didn't know your mother was there. So that's how they found out I was pregnant.
Oh, and how did your mum react?
Well, my mum was upset, but my father nearly hit the roof. He nearly hit the roof. And he said, I want to see him. I said, oh God, it's going to be trouble, My father was very strict.
Mm.
But he said, you're going to have to get married now, he said, and I'm not bringing shame, I'm going to be bringing shame on the family and all the rest. So he went along with it. I didn't think he would because...
What age, was he the same age as you?
He was 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was a soldier in the Key Barracks at the time.
Okay, yeah.
So he, I told him, and he said, well, I suppose we'll have to get married. So I said, well, my father wants to see you. So there was words said. And the wedding was arranged. And
so he said, yeah. So you...
He said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't too keen on it. He said it reluctantly, So we went to see the priest anyway, and it was arranged. And that would have been in... I was 3 months pregnant. So that would have been... I'll go back from October. The baby, Michael was born in October.
Mm.
But anyway, the wedding was ready. We went to see the priest, and the priest came down to my father, and he tried to talk my father. He won't let me get married.
Because
he said no.
He knew the fella.
The priest instantly took a dislike to him.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And he kept saying to my father, he said, look, this is no good. This chap is no good. It's not going to be any good to her.
And your father didn't?
No, he wouldn't give in. He wouldn't give in. And even his sister, my aunt, who lived around the corner from us at the time, she came around and tried to talk him over. Now, we had a cousin in England too. We were told she was going to work, but we found out later that she was pregnant.
Mm.
That's why she went. But no, we still wouldn't give in. So anyway.
So you had to do what your father said?
I had to do, yeah.
And what did you feel about it?
I didn't want to get married. I wanted to have the baby, but I didn't want to get married.
Did you want to keep the baby?
Yeah.
And would that have been possible that was 1967?
Well, it wouldn't have. My mum's sister-in-law, my Aunt Maggie, she tried to say to them, look, I've read my grandson. It can be done,
Yeah.
And my father goes, no, I'm having no bastard child in here and all the rest. It was terrible. But the priest even said to him, look, he said, I have a sister down the country, Tipperary, I think he said.
Yeah.
And he said, she can go down there until she has the baby. And she can get the baby adopted. I said, no, I don't want the baby adopted. I want to have the baby, So the wedding went ahead anyway. And
tell me, what was it like the day you got married? Did you...
And you're going to laugh when I tell you what happened. No wonder the wedding was, the marriage was a disaster. The gas company were digging holes outside my mother's house.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to walk out on the plank to the car. When we got to the church, they were fixing the altar, so the scaffolding was out of that. There was a hammer hanging over the thing, and I kept looking up. There was a funeral on its way in, so the priest was rushing the ceremony. I never even said I do. He just kept saying, I'm not married to you.
He was like, everything around you.
Yeah, it was a disaster. And then we were sitting, the wedding was in the house. Like.
Yeah.
So my two grannies were after cooking all the food and that. So his mother and sister were coming up from Cork for the funeral for the wedding.
Yeah.
It felt more like a funeral.
Yeah.
But we were sitting where we could see out the window. We seen these two women knocking at the door, and my granny said, "Feckin' travellers on the day of your wedding knocking at the door." And when the two of them walked in, he said, "Oh, that's my mother and my sister." My granny had the same travellers at the door. I say, he's looking at my grandmother like saying, "How dare you," kind of, but he never said anything. But that night, anyway, it was a great day. I believe the wedding went down for 3 days. I wasn't there because we went down to Cork that night.
Yeah. You went down to Cork, was that kind of your honeymoon? Or?
He had a house down, his father was after giving him a house down in Cork.
Oh, his father gave him a house in Cork?
Yeah.
Did you move to Cork?
We moved to Cork, yeah.
Oh, did you? I didn't know you did that, yeah.
Yeah. I lived down there for 4 years, till Michael was 4, yeah.
Yeah. Did you like Cork?
I loved Cork, yeah.
How come you came back?
If it had been a good marriage and he wasn't beating me up every chance he got, I would have loved to raise the kids there because we were in the country but beside the sea.
Perfect.
Yeah. You know Fota Island?
Yeah.
Well, we lived just up the road from there, so we were in the country and the beach was there, just down the road from us. So it was absolutely gorgeous.
When did he start hitting you? Was that before? Did he ever hit you before you got married?
No, but I kind of knew that he wanted to. But I kind of just thought, oh, well, he's annoyed over having to get married or whatever. I just put it down to that, like.
But it was after you got married?
It was after we got married, yeah. It started shortly after, about 2 weeks after. But,
were you shocked when he hit you?
Oh, I was shocked, yeah. I normally know if somebody hit me, I'd hit back, you know, but I was so shocked that I didn't.
Yeah.
And like he was real muscly because he was used to working out in the army, and so the strength of him was, you know. But that continued then until Jason was born. And I went into hospital. I was taken into hospital. And from then, as I said, when Jason was born, he had a lump on his head and he was in the premature unit getting investigated. So when I came out of the hospital then, about 3 weeks after I came out of hospital, the court case was up. And the paediatrician never appeared in court, so she was subpoenaed. I don't know what they called it back then.
She was forced to come in.
Yeah. So we had to go back to court again for her to appear. So it turned out when I was having Jason, my heart stopped for 5 minutes. And I said, well, if that's the way death is, I'm delighted. I wouldn't be afraid to die. Like.
Did you have a sense you died?
I didn't know that I had died until she got stood up in court and gave evidence.
Yeah. Was Jason your second or?
No, he was the last.
The last.
Yeah.
So he was the last.
Yeah. But it turned out that when he was being born, his shoulders got caught. And I don't know what happened. How did I must have passed out or she said my heart stopped. But it was a lovely feeling. So that if I've no fear of dying, it's how I'm going to die. But the actual dying wouldn't bother me. Because it was this lovely like tunnel with blue kind of light and this beautiful music playing.
Really?
And there was this woman at the end of the tunnel and she kept saying, go back, go back. Which was just like, you never see things of the Virgin Mary. Like, She was dressed like that, and just go back. And then I got here, Bridget, wake up, Bridget, wake up. And it was the nurse, and oh God, what's going on here? Like,
And was it, you weren't bringing the case, was it that the hospital saw that the child had...
no, I had, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you see, I had taken out the summons
yeah.
before I had Jason, and then when Jason was born.
So Jason was your 6th child,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you'd really been through it by then.
By then I had, yeah.
So was that the end of your marriage?
That was the end of it, yeah.
So did you bring up the kids on your own then?
Well, I brought them up about, Jason was a year old, and the kids were starting to go wild. It's like running out of school and the whole lot. Well, Martin,
Yeah.
the third fella, he was just trouble.
Yeah.
But they were just getting to be a handful, like.
Yeah.
And I had come out as being gay then as well, so
What?
yeah. So it's come with that. The cope brought that as well.
Phyllis, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
You only kind of came around to that because you got pregnant when you were 18, you're married, you have 6
But I always
kids.
knew that there was something different about me.
Isn't that?
I just didn't know what it was until I started playing camogie, and I was fancying out. And
And of course, you're talking the 1960s, so people weren't
so
even
you wouldn't
talking
talk
about
about
that
it.
then.
No.
Oh, no.
So this was about, it would have been 76 he was on, so this would have been 77.
Yeah.
But I asked what the social worker who was coming up and down for years now, I'd known him because of all the trouble with him. And I asked her, would you put the kids into care till I got myself sorted, because I'd got into a race with me rent and the whole lot. Like. So she said no, she said the only way they could go into care is if, because you look after them all right, so there's no reason. So I said, like my head is wrecked and I can't cope. Like.
Because you were only in your 20s.
Yeah.
Still.
So, well, I was 29, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
you
still,
had this since you were 18.
Yeah. So she said to me, the only way, she said, that they can go into care is if they're abandoned. If you abandon them. I said, I'm not going to do that. So things were slowly getting kind of worse, and I was I could feel myself that I was going to hit, and I never hit them. I never hit the kids, no matter how bold they were. I'd stop them from getting something that I promised them, or send them up to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
But she said no. But I said, okay, then if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. So I went out and I left the kids there on their own, and I rang her and I said, I'm not going home. So I said, the kids are there on their own. So she said, so are you sure that's what you want to do? I said, yeah. I said, Catherine, I can't cope. I just can't cope. So I said to her, will they be taken into care now? So she said, yeah. So she said they'd be going about 3 o'clock the next day. So she said, if you want to come up and see them off. But I couldn't go up. I hid behind a tree.
And where were they taken? Were they taken to
They
a
were
home?
taken out to a home out in Monkstown.
Yeah.
Now, when they were in there and all, I had to sign, she asked me to sign a form.
Yeah.
But that I didn't mind, because it was a Protestant home and they were Catholic. I had to sign the form saying I didn't mind them getting Catholic or Protestant teaching. So, did that anyway, signed 2 forms. So when I got myself sorted, got me rent arrears cleared and got myself sorted out, and the photograph of my partner over there, but
Yeah.
and we had to prove that we were in a steady relationship and all that. So
Had you met someone?
I had met someone in between, yeah.
A woman?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I met her by accident.
Yeah.
We went into town, a few of us in a van.
Yeah.
One of the women that I had met, I don't know if you ever heard about Bartley Dunn's, did you?
Oh, Barley Dunn's pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was told to go in there, and that's where all the people
I remember
met.
Bartley Guns. Yeah.
So I went in there anyway. And I met this lovely group of women.
Yeah.
So they said they were going out on a Sunday afternoon for a drink.
Yeah.
And two of them were from Trim, down in Meath. And she had a van, one of them had a van. So she said, well, I'll pick you up, she said, and we'll go off somewhere. So I said, fair enough. So she was meeting her other half. She worked in the Adelphi cinema, so she was meeting her other half, and this woman was crossing the road. And Pat shouted out, oh, there's... So she beeped at her and she called her out. She said, come on. So off we went, and then me and her got chatting in the pub, and that's when we started. So we were 13 years together.
And you met, and then you cleared your rent arrears, so then did you get the kids back?
Well, I went to court to get the kids back, and the judge wouldn't give me them. And I said, but why? Like, I explained I had everything. Well, my solicitor, I had a legal aid solicitor. And he said, like, she's cleared everything. She said, well, you signed a form saying that you were a non-fit mother. I said, no, I didn't. He said, you did. He said, I have it in front of me. I said, no, I never. The only form that I signed was to say that I didn't mind the kids being brought up in a Protestant home. Wasn't the second form that I signed was to say that I was a non-fit mother, and she never told me. So he wouldn't give me the kids back. So they were there. Michael was there. When the three eldest, once they came to 13, they went to another house, like, for bigger kids, like. So they went there, and I said, look, I'm going for custody. And I said, just want to come out. They said no, they were happy where they are. Yeah. Because you had to get, what they call that, Newtown Park, the college there.
Oh, yeah.
Michael and Martin had got in there. And it's very hard to get into. You have to put your name down when you're born, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, so they went there. So I went for custody, the younger three then. So eventually I got them back. And they're still around, still all around me.
But I think it just shows the pressure that women can be left under. You were 29 years of age with 6 children coming out of an abusive marriage.
Like, well, the lads who turn around to me saying, and they thank me for it because they got a great education.
Did they? Yeah, and they all did well.
And they all did well, yeah. And like, as they said, if things had been kept going the way they were going, they could have got into drugs or...
This is it. You wanted the best for them, and you thought, I am under too much pressure here, and I know...
I could see the way they were going. I could see what way things were going, you know. Yeah. I didn't want that, you know. Yeah. So they thank me for it, although I do feel guilty about it.
Well, of course, because it was such a difficult decision.
Yeah. But they'd say, no, Mum, look, you did us a favour. We got a good education where we were, and, you know, and we're all okay. Yeah. And touch wood, I've never had trouble with any of them. Never had trouble with any of them. But,
and do you have grandchildren now?
I have 12 grandchildren.
You've 12 grandchildren?
And 2 great-grandchildren, yeah.
But are you close to your grandchildren?
Yeah. I love them, yeah. But James is boys now. James is the second eldest. They do come out over and to be odd. And he tell us your stories and tell you.
Oh, really? You've all the stories to them,
Myself and split up in late 80s, early 90s, It would have been around 1991. Yeah.
So what age would you have been then? You would have been in your 40s by then.
I would have been in my 40s, yeah. Actually, that June I was 39, because I remember, because I had a hysterectomy that June. Yeah. And then the following February I was 40. Yeah. But so she met someone else. But now we stayed friends. Like.
Did you ever meet anybody else?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Never kind of lasted any
Did you
length of time.
Was there were you part of the gay community?
Kind of wasn't that involved. Like I tried to get involved, but it was too political.
Was it?
Yeah, it was too political. Then I met who was down in, I was told you got number 16 in New Street. And
oh, that was the lady you were saying.
Yeah.
It was.
well, I had met her about 20 years before that
Yeah.
at a women's weekend down in Cork.
Yeah.
And but I was with someone at the time, like.
Yeah.
But did you ever just meet someone and you just clicked?
Yeah.
And the two of us just clicked, like.
Yeah.
But she was with someone, and then I was with someone as well. So I said no going there. So then I was up in Crumlin Shopping Centre one day, and I met her again. So we became friends then after that. So her ex was always hanging around. So
Yeah.
I know that she wanted us to get together, but I couldn't. Because I had lost trust with and
Yeah.
so a couple of other short relationships I'd had.
So did you ever have a
was-
relationship with? No, oh, you were just.
We were
pals.
just getting to it when she died. Yeah.
When did she die?
She died 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
Yeah.
she was buried, well, we scattered the ashes out in Sandymount.
Yeah.
Beside
And you were saying the amazing coincidence is that she ended up living in the house that you were born in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's mad.
Is there a community for older people? Like you're 76
Well, see, this
now.
is now, my friend, her partner died there on Halloween.
Yeah.
So she's coming around to me now. She's really involved.
Yeah. With the yeah.
Well, she goes to all the places where you'd go, do you know what I mean, to get information and stuff. So she's trying to get me to go in, because I was saying to her, there's nothing for like people her age.
Yeah.
So like, if you wanted to meet someone, not that I'm going to go out of my way to meet someone,
Yeah.
but if you did, where would you go? Like?
Yeah.
So there's this place called Our House down in Capel Street.
Oh, I know how. Yeah.
Yeah. So she said to go down there. So I was kind of, I'm really cowed. I said, oh. Yeah, I'll go in, yeah. And then when the day comes, oh, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So she's kind of given up, but she got me a magazine from there, and there's loads of interesting things in it. And that's brought up about age.
It's often people in the gay community have more open lives and lots of different experiences, because a lot of them didn't settle down and have kids or whatever. So there was just a kind of freedom in that community. Did you find that?
Yeah.
I often found it kind of different lives.
Yeah. You just did. You just did what. Now, like, you had a job. Like, a lot of them now had good jobs now. A lot of people that I knew anyway had good jobs, and were happy enough with their life.
Yeah.
And were able to go travelling and the whole lot. Like.
They used to call it the Pink Pound.
The Pink Pound.
The Pink Pound.
Yeah,
and then I used to have a comedy group called the Nulas, and we were very popular.
I remember them. Yeah.
And we were very popular in the gay community, and we'd be on stage and we always go, oh, look at the Purple Pound. The Purple. The Purple. We used to call it the Purple Pound.
Yeah.
But they used to say that.
What happened to you? So did you just all...
We did really, really well, but there was 3 women, so the lineup kept changing. 3 women. I don't need to tell you, as a gay woman. 3 women together. We had the most fantastic time doing the Nulas, and then after 7 years we stopped doing it, and then and then other things were going on, and then we got it back together again, and it was great. It was good, but it never there was so many times we were on the cusp of really huge stuff, and it never really happened.
Never materialised.
That's showbiz.
Yeah.
But we really used to have great fun doing gigs for the gay community in Dublin and around the country from the mid-90s to the early 2000s. That was our era. And then this is a funny thing, Phyllis. When we got back together then in 2011, we found our audience had kind of changed. Our audience was kind of older women then, in a funny way. I think it's because I think a lot of the gay guys really like the idea of 3 young women singers, and but I think you're not so.
But did you do a thing down in Fishamble Street, and you know where the council have their offices?
Oh, we did.
After a pride march, would have been 94, 95.
Yeah, we would have. Because we were.
So I used to bring my 2 grandsons in to the march, and then they loved the entertainment. And Robbie got up on stage with them one time dancing.
Yeah.
What's her name? He's a lovely looking bloke when he's a bloke, like. He has a place down there in Capel Street.
Panty.
Oh, Panty. Panty, yeah.
Got up on stage with Panty dancing, and everyone was kind of filming it and the whole lot to carry on.
Well, it was joyous.
Yeah.
And, you know, and there've been a lot of struggles in that community, just the right to live your life as you want and whatever.
Yeah,
so.
and then with the HIV as well.
Oh, yeah.
And as I used to say to people, only for the gay blokes, HIV would be rampant here. Because they educated the people.
They educated and they supported each other.
The hospitals or clinics weren't doing anything about it. They came
I always felt that. That's why I love performing in that community, because I always felt the community spirit was amazing.
Yeah. It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, then with the kids there as well, kind of, like, helped me when reared them, do you know what I mean? And then when our relationship broke down, I just kind of didn't feel like mixing again with the gay community. I just kind of wanted to just leave it.
Yeah, and I suppose you're a bit older.
Yeah, but I try not to think of the bad times and think of the good times, because if I was to think of the bad times, I would just give up.
Overall, when you look back, you just,
Yeah. I do think of the bad times now and again, but they just get me down, do you know what I mean? I don't want to go back over it. Now, me and him made up before he died.
That's...
After 40 years, we kind of...
So you split up with him?
I split up with him after Jason was born, yeah.
Yeah, and then you were apart.
Yeah.
And where did he go?
He went back down to live in Cork.
Okay, and did he support you at all?
No. He said he couldn't afford to. So I just kind of left it. So I leave it at that, like. But...
did he ever see his kids?
No. No, he never wanted to see them. But Martin was home from England one time and he said, I want to find my dad. So he looked him up and found out where he was, and he went and seen him. So then, of course, the rest of the lads wanted to know where he was. So they said it to me, like, Mum, would you mind if we went and seen him? We don't want to go against you. I said, no. I said, look, he's your father. At the end of the day, he's your father. We just want to see him. See him. I said, it was him that wouldn't see you. I never stopped them.
Yeah.
And I never told the kids how bad things were. They just found out themselves.
Yeah.
But, so they went anyway. They all kind of took turns. So it turned out then that Amory and Jason then wanted to see him. So I said to Amory, I said, look, I have the free travel.
Yeah.
If you want to go down and see your dad, I'll go with you. I said, I'll go off somewhere and then...
Oh, so when she decided you want to see him, you thought, I'll see him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I was just going to let the two of them
go
on their own, and I was going to go off rambling. So the two of them said to me, no, sure, come with us, like, we're only going for a cup of tea and whatever. Yeah. So that's how it happened, and then he brought us up to see our old house where we used to live when we lived down in Cork.
There by the sea, near Fulton.
I was showing Maria there.
Yeah.
So it turned out he had this cut on his head, and I was saying to him, like, what's wrong with your head? Like, did you bang it or something? And he said, I know, it's cancerous, like, so he said, I'm getting treatment for it. So it was about 9 or 10 months after that, then Michael rang me, and he said, Ma'am, Dad's at ringing me, and he's got cancer. I said, I don't know if I can tell, and he's 40. He said, no, he's got lung cancer now. So Michael, he was to go to see the specialist. He was after getting all the scans and all done. And he went to see the specialist, and Michael went with him and recorded the whole thing. So now he asked before he did it, like. So he said to him, you know, Michael, he said, no, this is it, like, they can't be cured. So he said, I'm aware of that. So he was kind of resigned to it.
What age would he have been then?
He
would have been in his...
6 years older than me, so.
And how long ago was this?
There's 4 years ago, 5 years ago this year.
5 years ago this year?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so he would have been in about his mid-70s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
and did he survive much longer after that?
No. He only lasted about 4 months.
But tell me this, when you went down with Amory and Jason and saw him, what was it like to see him after all those years?
It was kind of strange. But we got on okay, like... But I always said, and he always said, we would have better never getting involved. We would have been better friends.
Yeah. Did he ever meet anybody else in his life?
Yeah, he met this woman called Anna.
Yeah.
And she was lovely.
Yeah.
And she was lovely. And me and her got on great, like, and she used to slip me a few bob and he wouldn't be looking to stay here.
Oh, yeah.
Take that, she said, because what he's giving you is not a lot.
Yeah.
So, so that was grand. So, yeah, she died. She had COPD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she died, so he missed her. Now, we always talked about her, like...
Yeah, and so did you keep in touch with... Did you see him again before he passed away, or was it just that one?
I was with him, yeah.
You were with him, were you?
Yeah, myself and Michael were with him, and his brother, when he passed. Well, up to the night before.
Yeah.
Then the nurse said to us, look, you might as well go home and have a sleep, go back to your hotel and have a sleep, like. So we were on our way back up to the hospital when my phone rang and it was to tell me that he just passed. It was his brother, like.
And how did the kids get on with him when they finally met him? What did they make of him?
Oh, they were delighted because they were sorry that they hadn't got in touch with him before all that happened.
Yeah.
They left it so lately.
Yeah.
But they were glad that they had.
Yeah, and
because
they saw him before the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was never around when they got together, like, but Tony and Dad was saying, like, we had a bit of a laugh and, you know, it was a good chat. Michael spent more time with him there because he wasn't great at reading and writing, so Michael took all his bills over and paid them for him and done the whole lot, so that was grand. So sure, he was without heating around because he couldn't work the heating system out. You know, so Michael got it all sorted for him and did whatever had to be done.
At the end of his life.
Yeah. But so that was it. So that was my life up to now anyway.
Yeah.
But then I had some good times. Like I had good.
You had a lot of tough times.
Yeah, but I had good times.
Looking back in your life, what would you say is, if you were giving anybody advice about life from your own experience, what would you say is the big advice you give to anybody starting out in life? Any young person who said, Phyllis, you've lived a life, you've been through a lot of ups and downs. What would you say is the big advice you'd have for someone?
Well, live your life like it was your last day.
Yeah. And
if you have something that you want to do, do it. Because you don't know how long you have left for to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to travel, if you want to buy a business or work towards it and do it. And try not to hurt people along the way. Because it only comes back on yourself.
Yeah.
And just live life and treat people the way you would like to be treated. And enjoy it. Just enjoy it as much as you can. You're going to have hard times and you'll deal with them.
Yeah.
And the harder times you have will make you a better person. So just enjoy life because you don't know what's around the corner. And that would be my advice to
Thank you, Phyllis. And thanks for this chat. I've learned so much about you.
And thank you, Anne.
It's been brilliant chatting to you.
I've enjoyed chatting to you.
Yeah, and thank you for being so honest. It's an amazing story. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email me on angledchats@gmail.com, or you can leave comments or feedback in the comment section of whatever platform you're watching on. Anne Chats is a Farron Gildee production produced by Paul Farron and Anne Gildee.